Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's just put it out there, because everyone's thinking it anyway. Women prefer big penises but not small. That's the line, right? That's the headline. That's the thing people whisper about, joke about, argue about in hushed tones, or scream about in toxic comment threads. And yet, beneath all the noise, there's this quiet truth no one wants to say out loud, this conversation. This obsession with size isn't really about sex. Not entirely. It's about identity, it's about confidence, it's about shame. It's about the constant pressure to measure up, literally and metaphorically, in a world that's constantly telling you you're either too much or not enough. I want to talk to the men for a second, and I want to be honest with you, because I've worked with men, coached them, sat across from them in moments where they were raw and vulnerable, and one of the deepest insecurities I've heard, repeated over and over, is this: what if I'm not big enough? That fear, it doesn't just live in your bedroom. It leaks into how you show up in relationships, in conversations, in your career, in the way you see yourself. And society doesn't help, right? Every joke, every locker room comment, every toxic message about what real men are like, it's all noise, but when you're hearing it enough, it becomes a voice inside your head. Let me be clear, women aren't out here sitting around, measuring tape in hand, making spreadsheets of penis sizes. What women actually crave, what they talk about when they feel safe, when they're with someone who listens, is presence, emotional presence, physical presence, confidence that isn't loud or performative, but steady and grounded. Someone who pays attention, who isn't rushing to the end, but who understands that intimacy is about connection, not just performance. That's what makes someone incredible in bed. That's what builds real sexual chemistry. And you know what? That's something size can't give you, but it's also something size can't take away. I have to tell you something uncomfortable. When a woman says she prefers a bigger penis, most of the time, what she's actually talking about is the experience. She's describing confidence or novelty, or a partner who isn't afraid to explore and communicate. She might be expressing a fantasy, not a requirement, and yet, somewhere along the way, this got twisted into a rule, a belief that bigger is better, and if you're not big, you're automatically disqualified. That belief is trash, it's damaging, and it's not even true. Do you know how many women I've spoken to who have said they've had partners with perfect size, and the sex was awful? Because there was no connection, no communication, just ego, just performance. And listen, if you've ever felt shame around your body, I want you to pause and hear this. You are not broken. You are not lacking. You do not have to be anything other than who you are to be loved, desired, and worthy of amazing connection. Your body is not a punchline. It's not a measurement on a scale or a ruler. It's the vehicle for your presence, your energy, your attention, your kindness, your strength, your you-ness. That's what women want. That's what people want. Someone who's there, someone who isn't performing or overcompensating, but who is grounded enough in themselves to say, this is me, I know how to listen, I know how to be with you, I know how to learn. Sex is not a one-size-fits-all experience. Every body is different, every preference is different, every relationship is a new dance, and you don't get good at dancing because you were born with the right legs. You get good because you're willing to show up, to pay attention, to lead when it's needed, to follow when it's time, and to move with your partner. And when you do that, you become unforgettable. You become the partner people talk about, not because of your size, but because of how you made them feel, safe, seen, desired, respected. We need to shift this conversation, not just about size, but about worth. About how deeply we've tied our value to things that are out of our control, instead of the things that actually matter. How we treat people, how we communicate, how honest we're willing to be. And I get it. This stuff is messy. Insecurity doesn't just disappear because someone tells you you're fine. But what does start to change everything is when you begin to challenge the stories you've been handed. When you start questioning the nonsense you've absorbed. When you stop letting shame speak louder than truth. So no, this speech isn't really about penises. It's about all the things we project onto them. It's about the weight men carry silently and unfairly. It's about how we heal from that, how we move forward, how we step into a version of intimacy that isn't based on comparison, but on courage, on conversation, on presence. Because in the end, size is just a distraction from the real question. Can you show up for yourself and for someone else with honesty, confidence, and curiosity? That's the real power. That's the real turn-on. And that's something no measurement can ever define. Now go be that person.